I think we've got a serious mental health crisis related to drugs and bad food and all kinds of stuff the last decade or two.
You know, this is like 20 years ago. I was hanging out in Chicago, and I was having this like philosophical debate with a friend, and we were talking about like NPCs. This is kind of crazy that it became a meme later on, but like solipsism and things like this. And I was like, dude, there are some people who are just not real. I swear, because either they're just too dumb. And then so I asked random people on the street as we were talking, are you sentient? Not a single person said yes.
Did they say no?
They said no. They all said no. All of them just outright no. And I was like, are you joking? Like, come on. I was expecting for them to be like, yeah. And we were at a college, so it's not like people are going to say, people didn't know what you mean. No, it's like, we were outside of DePaul University. I just genuinely think these people, there's no lights on upstairs.
I guess they call it intelligence for a reason, because it's actually something. Like it isn't everywhere. Like it's a unique phenomenon when someone actually has it.
Do you think that if we asked these people, do you have an inner monologue, they'd all say no? Or would they say, what's that?
They would say, what's that?
Yeah.
I honestly
like you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
It's like, well, if you don't have one, I'm not sure that telling you would actually help you understand it.
Some people think in like images. Some people think in sounds. Some people think in words. Some people just don't really think, I guess.
I can't imagine thinking.
Some do what the voices tell them to do.
Right. I mean, I can visualize things, but I'm constantly like kind of walking around muttering to myself or like thinking out loud, talking to myself. So I can't. So anytime I think ever, it's in words. I can't imagine thinking only in concepts or not having the ability to think in words. And
I think in pictures. I think.
Do you?
I think so.
Like you picture something happening?
When someone's explaining something to me, I'm putting together a little movie in my head. And if there's a gap, I stop them and have to make them fill that in so I can continue the movie and understand it.
That's kind of how it is with me. And then there's like color, which is like warm. Like there's a temperature of color around the imagery happening. Like the jacket will be like a brighter red that's warmer, indicating like a feeling, like an emotion. That's kind of how I visualize.
Do you feel like that's an asset? My sense is that would be an asset when you're doing interviews.
I just thought that's how everybody sees it, because you don't really analyze it yourself until I have heard other people. And clearly my husband doesn't think that way. So when you talk to other people and you realize they're not following the same train of thought as you realize there's...
Does it help you when you're interviewing people?
Probably, because I make people explain things very clearly, and I think that helps.
I think that there's also something called, what's the word for when people can't visualize things?
Oh, I don't know.
It starts with an A. Aphantasia.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually think that there's different modes of thinking, and there's probably a bunch of different ones. Some people might think in sounds. They almost hear the sound. You don't literally hear the sound, but you can, I don't know, what's the sound version of visualize, audiolize? I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can.
Some people in their minds hear it.
Yeah.
Some people can think almost in text. So there's different ways of thinking. There's like audio, video, conceptual. And then I think what you end up with is a lot of people who have the most rudimentary, they can't visualize anything and there's no inner monologue. There's probably not a lot going on there.
And that inner monologue is important because that's what'll keep you from doing that stupid shit. Like you need to be able to see yourself in the future potentially doing something and questioning it and be like, hold on, there's consequences. Think about all the possible outcomes of that action.
Edit your actions.
That's it. But there's another component in that people who have the ability to not just visualize an image of things, but to imagine what it could be. So there's remembering something, then there's visualizing anything, which allows you to make predictions of the future.
Consequence.
Right. So you are right about this guy can't think ahead, but it's not just that. It's that he doesn't, because he can't, he has no reason for what he's doing. That's why people like us don't go around ramming Teslas.
Oh, that's interesting. The age of reason. Yeah, that's a big deal. Reason wasn't always part of our norm. Like we kind of are in the age of reason for the most part right now, and there's a big diffusion.
The reason I do, so there's a couple different, there's many different motivations for action. This is pure impulse. Someone told them to be angry. They got angry. They took an action. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just impulse. It's the lowest order of thinking.
That lizard brain, the amygdala.
That's right. Then there's reason. There's reasoning, meaning I think about the action. I visualize what will happen if that action is taken out, and then I decide how to address that circumstance. Sane, rational people do things like start companies and build houses and design trains. Everybody else rams Teslas.
And they also question their purpose with reason. You're able to think, why am I drawn?
Except Sam Cedar. He can't.
He doesn't question his purpose.
He can't even Google the word.
He doesn't believe
Sam.
in free will.
I just had to drag the guy.
Free will? That's a whole other conversation. Free will versus fate. I wonder if
No, he doesn't believe that people have free will. He thinks that people don't actually have free will.
we're all starting like an automated system.
He thinks
due
that
to external.
He thinks that that everyone it's kind of predestined depending on your I guess your inclination and whether or not you've had enough food today and stuff. So
To be fair, though, I don't care what he thinks because he's not smart enough to Google search basic philosophical concepts. He lacks not just the capability to understand, but the desire to try.
Interesting.
But I don't want to talk about that guy. I was just dragging him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the guy who got arrested for ramming a Tesla and all the rest of them.
So what happened? Did he get charged with?
Yeah, I think he's getting felonies.
I mean, that's right.
What do they give him? Multiple felonies?
no,
I got to be honest. This video is ridiculously funny. I mean, it's dumb.
Is it playing now?
It is playing.
Okay. Oh my god. Well, that's the momentum.
Yo, we're in trouble as a species.
And the homemade four-wheeler, that's pretty cool.
It's homemade. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.